Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 203 for the 14th of September. So let's start off with the breaking news. Zelenskyy is involved in the road accident. So according to multiple sources, and there's also some kind of video or photos, Zelensky's car got into a road accident in Kiev with another car. So he actually returned back to Kiev rather quickly because he was just visiting Izium, taking some photos over here just recently, probably 1 or 2 days ago only. So the spokesperson said in the Facebook post that he is actually not seriously injured, which means he is actually a little bit injured. And the doctors that accompany the president also treated the driver of the other car and had sent the driver to the emergency. So it looks like a rather serious road accident, which is actually rather unusual, given that this is a war situation. Ukraine is at war. I don't think any cars are supposed to be driving normally. It should be stopped by a traffic police or the security that is protecting Zelenskyy car. So not much is being said. Who currently is not being mentioned as a assassination attempt of any kind. So let's take this with an open mind. Currently, this is just a normal road accident, and interestingly, Putin is also rumored to be attacked. His car actually got attacked, but this is just rumors. There's no concrete information about that yet. So that's all for that. According to the Ukraine Defense Ministry, the latest report, they mentioned they shot down 3 Sukhoi 25 and 1 Sukhoi 24M over Ukraine. As usual, they do not indicate exactly where. So, and then there is this cross-border situation where there is an attack reported in the village of Elizavetovka. At Elizavetovka, the Ukrainian reportedly attacked the border guards in this position, and then they retreated. So this is one of the few instances where the Ukrainians are reportedly entered into Russian territory to do raids or have a skirmish with the border guards or whatever Russian troops have in the region. We shall see, if this actually boils over to something bigger. Tentatively, it's not. Moving on to the missile strikes. So the biggest news is actually the Russian missile strikes on the dam on the Inhulets River, particularly at Kryvyi Rih city, on the western side of Kryvyi Rih city. At this dam here, it got attacked. So the Karashochunovskaya dam, which is 205 meters long, was destroyed or actually damaged, heavily damaged by missile strikes. Accordingly, the integrity of the structure is broken, receiving a significant damage, and the authority of the Kryvyi Rih reported 8 hits on critical hydraulic infrastructure. So this entire dam currently is compromised. So I can show you some photos and videos as a result of this destruction. So this is the photo of the destruction that is at the mine. I can show you a video version, which is, oops, sorry, yeah. So this is the video. So I restart. You can see that the water flow is now tremendous into the river, and this is actually the damp area. So the damage is pretty extensive, given that it's a multiple missile strikes, like 8 strikes on it. So it looks like a very determined and deliberate attempt to take out this dam. And as a result, flooding start to happen in Kryvyi Rih itself. And I can show you some videos. You can see that it's flooded already within the city. I can see the water creeping forward as the water continue to rise. And reportedly the water can rise up to 3 stories high should the entire dam be compromised. So we are not sure if that will be the extent. I can show you, at least this is already half a story of flooding already, or at least 1 meter over, and the water flow is now tremendous. Down on the downstream after the dam in the Inhulets River, you can see that the river is now rather wide, and existing bridges that is over the Inhulets River cannot sustain this kind of water flow, and as well as the height, the water level. And as such, you can see that this civilian crossing being swept away by the river, and this will not just affect civilian crossings, but this will also affect pontoon crossings, military crossings that was developed over the Inhulets River. And in a while I'll show you the kind of situation this will actually cause. So all the way down the Inhulets River, it flows all the way down here through Arkhangelsk and all the way down to the battlefront here at the Kryivyi Rih Front. And at the Kryivyi Rih Front, as a result, the crossings are reportedly now being swept away, including the pontoon crossing, which means that the Ukrainian forces here on the eastern bank of the Inhulets is now isolated. They are now stranded in this territory, and the river flow here is currently a lot stronger than it was. Retreat or reinforcement will prove to be extremely difficult now, especially the water flow will be much higher than it was before. So now we are now in the since we are here, let's start off with the Southern Front information. There is a Mi-8 shot down over Kinburns Spit, which is actually this tank here, and this Mi-8 is shot down. Reportedly on board there are commandos on board, and later there is information of amphibious landing. 5 boats with troops landed at the Kinburns Spit, and they reportedly has engaged the Russian forces around here. The last information I've seen is that the attack is repelled. However, what is the conclusion? The troops of these 5 boats, what happened to them currently is still unknown. We are still not sure what's the situation about for Kinburns region here. This is actually not the first time the Ukrainian forces have tried to attack from this part. This tongue here, this looks like a tongue. This spit here. However, the previous attempts have not been successful. They had always been stuck here, unable to move towards the mainland. So we will look out for more information as we move along. In the Mykolaiv Front, there is no updates. Nothing's happening around here. Over at the Kryivyi Rih Front, as per mentioned, as the river level, the water level got higher, as well as the water flow, the currents got higher. Currently, it is reported that the forces here is now stranded at Odradivka, Luzove, Belohirka, Sukistavok, Kostromka, Shakolove, and Bezimene. Currently, all this position, the troops here are stranded, and the troops number here is actually not very, very high. So, the Russian forces is likely to launch an attack, probably to take out all these crossing area regions and to encircle the forces, the Ukrainian forces in this region. Situation is probably very critical for the Ukrainian side. The Ukrainian side probably still have boats which it can use for withdrawal, which I believe that the wise thing for the Ukrainian forces to do is actually to withdraw from this area. Should their forces continue to stay here, reinforcement will not be able to come to them, especially for heavy equipment. So it will prove to be extremely difficult, especially the Russian forces have air superiority in this region. So let's see what's going to come next for this Kryivyi Rih Front. Over at the Kryvyi Rih Front, there is a concentration of forces at Knyazivka as well as Topolyne, and reportedly their aim is actually to attack towards Novovoznesenske. However, previously we have reported this as under Ukrainian control, is captured by the Ukrainians. As such, given this latest information from the pro-Russian source Rybar, we have to put this overlapping claim, and this is now currently in the question mark zone. But as per our monitoring, this is still under Ukrainian control until we can prove it otherwise. And that's all we have over here at the Kryvyi Rih Front. And moving on to the Zaporizhzhia Line. Previously we mentioned the gathering of forces at Odradivka region. The Ukrainian forces have launched attack towards Nesterianka. So this attack doesn't seem to be very big given the kind of gathering of forces at Odradivka. So according to multiple pro-Russian sources like Gonzo, they said that the units of the 65th Brigade tried to break through Odradivka, and however they got stopped due to mines. So as you can see, they fell into a minefield. So there is an infantry fighting vehicle, a YPR 765, was hit a mine, and then it was followed by a M113, and then by a T-72, which was then hit by RPG rounds. Then after that, the Ukrainian forces withdraw. So according to pro-Russian sources, the crew of the tank is captured along with 4 more soldiers. And after that, the Ukrainian forces did try to use mortar to try to take out the armored vehicle that was stranded, but it doesn't seem to have a success. The Ukrainian forces was intending to go around Nesterianka. They were going on the flanking movement on both sides, trying to go around the settlement to do an encirclement and force a withdrawal at Nesterianka. However, they got trapped at the mines, so this attack is abandoned. The attack seems to be really small given the kind of numbers that was reported gathering around this area, numbering in the thousands. So we will expect more offensive to come in the coming days. And the fighting reported at Dorozyanka and Konstantinivka, the border region between these two villages, is not continued. So the fighting there went quiet. So that's all we have for the Zaporizhzhia Line. Moving on to the Donetsk Front, fighting flare up again at Novomyhailivka. And at Soledar, this is previous information, should be outdated by now. So in case you missed the previous summary, there is around 2,000 troops reported to have arrived at Soledar on the 9th and the 10th. Given that on the 11th and 12th there is still reinforcement going into Soledar, we estimate at least for another 1,000 or 2,000 troops might be reinforcing Soledar. So the forces here is definitely big enough to launch a major offensive towards the Russian lines. Fighting continues at Vodyane. However, there is no fighting reported at the Pisky or Performansky region, only at Vodyane. So, however, this is definitely not at a settlement here, probably around this region. There is no clear indication of what happened. This is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. And that's all from the Donetsk Front. So, pretty quiet for most cases. Moving on to the Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, this is actually where the Russian concentrate most of their attention at, where fighting continues to be reported at Mayorsk, Odradivka, Zaiseve, Vesela, Dolyna, as well as at Soledar. These are all reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. We do not have much information about all this. And if you missed the summary yesterday, the Russian forces has captured Mykolaiv and Mykolaiv Druha. The Ukrainian position over at Vesela Dolyna is actually at this substation, this electrical substation region. So the fighting is definitely around this region here. And that's all from the Bakhmut Front. Moving on to the Siversk Front. There is fighting continue to be reported at Spirne as the Russians continue their counter-offensive. over at Spirne. There is a video that came out showing the Russians deploying parabombs, themobaric parabombs in this exact location here, just off this power substation in this area here, and you will be able to see, you know, these few structures that was abandoned. And let me show you the footage. So this footage is also posted separately on the DPA main channel. You can see the plane. This is probably a Sukhoi 35, or if I'm not wrong, and you can see that these are parabombs being spread 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and then you can see the explosion. This is a sign of this is thermobaric. At the rear, this area, this is actually the Volkayamske, I believe. No, sorry, this is actually the substation. I'm mistaken. This is the substation. This is, you see, this is the empty structure, the abandoned structure that I mentioned. All these smokes are actually flares, and you can see as the video pan further, behind here, this is actually the Volkayamka, the oil refinery. So this is geolocated by DPA to be at Spirne, and you can see this is exactly the one that we saw just now, and we also saw the these entrenchment lines, as well as they view. This is the substation. I misidentified right at the beginning when I said it was the refinery. It's actually not this. It's actually the substation. And as the camera pans, you actually see Volkayamka in the background, where the massive sprawling oil refinery is. So if you're interested to see this again, you can actually check out the channel, the main channel. I already posted this video. And the original footage has a different music. I have replaced the music due to fears of copyright strikes. So just for your information. And otherwise, there is nothing else happening at the Siversk Front. Over at the Slovyansk Front, the Ukrainians relaunched their attempt to attack Lyman. So fighting is reported at Yampil as well as at Lyman. Again, it was started off with artillery strike, and then the Ukrainian forces tried to push. However, at Lyman, there is reinforcement being reported, where the Russian columns is spotted moving toward Krasny Lyman or Crispy Lemon at Lyman here. So otherwise, the fighting continues. There is still no breakthrough for the Ukrainian side. Situation here at the Svetohursk, has went dead. There's no more information coming out about Svetohursk. We are still, waiting to see what's the situation around here. Did the Ukrainians actually capture this position or not? Some sources, the pro-Ukrainian sources say it is captured. However, pro-Russian sources have denied that. So we shall see, how this goes. Over at the Oskil line or Oskil front, nothing has happened around here. There is reports of attempts by the Ukrainian side to send commandos or recon troops, or the DRGs, the deep reconnaissance groups, across the river into the Russian lines. But so far, these attempts has not been successful. But there is nothing much to really report on this line. So that's all from the Oskil front, and this is the summary for the day of 203 for the 14th of September. For those that are not subscribed, please subscribe and help to grow this channel. And your support, your view, your like button, your subscription will help to continue to promote this channel and keep the coverage going. And I'll see you in the next update.